Hello and welcome to the One Page Marketing Plan video number 3, which is all about your defining and being clear about your target audience. People like me, that is to say marketing people, are always banging on about target audiences, and I can see it when I'm talking about it in some of my workshops. You can see people kind of, silently rolling their eyes. Don't think I don't know that you're doing it, because I know you are. And it's sort of like, oh God, really. And then I talk to small businesses about their, who's your target customers, and they want to sort of say, well, anyone really. We can deal with anyone, big customers, small customers, customers overseas. It doesn't really help from a marketing perspective. It's a total nightmare unless you've got £1 million budget, which I'm fairly certain if you're watching this, you probably haven't got. So it's really important to try and sort of drill down, because it will make a limited marketing budget go an awful lot further if you can be specific. So what I always ask people to do is be able to describe the people that you want to sell to. Imagine you've got a chair in front of you, and imagine that your ideal customer is sat there. Describe them, give them a name. What are they like? What do they like? What do they not like? How old are they? Where do they live? Are they married? Are they single? Do they have children? What keeps them awake at night? What are they worried about? And how could you help them? All of that kind of stuff. And this is important because you need to be able to start thinking like your customer. Put yourself in their shoes. What do they care about? What are they interested in? Why should they want anything from you? Speak their language, not your own language. Stop speaking in acronyms and crazy business jargon. Speak to people in their language, not yours, and focus on their needs and desires, not yours. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what you want to sell. It's about what people want to buy. And if we can flip that round and get into the groove of thinking and focusing on what a customer might want from you, then you have a much better chance of selling lots more stuff and making a lot more money. If you don't know who you're selling to, how do you know what they want from you? And there is the story, and the story starts at that point. Right, so what am I talking about here? This is a slide that I use in some of my workshops, and it just kind of drills down into the kind of detail that is quite useful to have. So let's look first of all at the top, the top row, and let's say this is a freelance, somebody who's setting themselves up as a freelance marketing person. So if I said, what's your target customer? They might say small businesses in Cumbria. Well, that's okay, but it's not really helpful, because that could be anything. It could mean anything. Most businesses in Cumbria are small businesses. So it's quite wide and quite broad, and from a marketing point of view, it's going to be very difficult to sort of get a good, clear, pithy, specific message. So then you move it on to the next box along, which is kind of, okay-ish example. Small business is in Cumbria in the financial services industry. Well, that's a bit more helpful. But we could make that even better if we said something like small accountancy firms who know they need to do marketing but just really don't know where to start. And so suddenly then you can start to sort of see how you might start writing a leaflet, or you might start thinking about an email campaign, because suddenly it makes what you're going to say a little bit easier, don't you think? And then the next example I've got down is for somebody that I met who is running a beauty therapy business. And I said to her, who's your target customer? And she said, well, anyone that's alive, really. We can accommodate anyone. So not helpful. So a little bit better by saying, well, people who've got busy lives and find it hard to find time to relax. Okay, well, that's pretty much most people, isn't it? So then if you could drill it down even further and say, well, mothers with small children looking for ways to find a few moments for themselves. Better. So what could you do with that? Well, then suddenly you start thinking, well, maybe we could see if we could get a guest blog opportunity on Mumsnet, or advertise on Mumsnet. That's massive for that kind of target market, isn't it? So it just gives you, the more specific you can be, the more clues you get on the kind of marketing messages that you could create, and where to put your marketing as well, which is really important. So the next one down is for a car company and or a car dealership. So who are you trying to sell to? Well, sales reps. Okay, well, that's quite a big market. So you're saying, well, can you be more specific? Well, we could say, well, sales reps earning over 50k a year looking to change their car over the next year. Okay, what's a bit better? But then you could maybe drill it down. Okay, I know I'm starting to get a bit silly now, but male sales reps earning over 50 grand a year, over the age of 50, heading for a midlife crisis, who might want to buy a sports car. Okay, a bit more specific, but suddenly you can start to sort of think of ideas for, the type of imagery that you might use, the kind of messages you might use, the kind of language you might use in communicating that message to that kind of person. The last one on the list is actually Heinz. Heinz tomato ketchup. Now, in reality, most big brands don't try and sell one thing to everybody. They will normally focus in on one family member, such as a mother or a father or a child. And they segment their markets quite heavily. So they will tend to have different campaigns running to different types of people, even though it's the same product. But, generally speaking, you could sort of argue that, well, who's the potential customer for Heinz ketchup? Well, anyone, providing they're not allergic to tomatoes, really, isn't it? Which is not helpful, unless you've got £1 million budget, which Heinz probably do, but they wouldn't use it in that way. So what they might do is they'll have several campaigns running, throughout. So if we drill it down, we might sort of think of, well, young people who like fast food. Okay, that's helpful. But then you drill it down one step forward and you say 18 to 24-year-old students who eat on the run and go to Glastonbury every year. Now, suddenly you can kind of start to then picture a marketing campaign, couldn't you? Where you might have, sponsor a food truck at Glastonbury. Maybe you hire some students to, hand out free samples of tomato ketchup, and so on and so on. And by spending the time to drill down into your target customer into this level of detail, it will make a huge, huge difference to how effective your marketing is. So that's all I've got on target audience. So what I'm going to do for the next video is we're going to just talk a little bit about routes to market and differentiators, or the ubiquitous unique selling point. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you on the next webinar. Bye-bye.